Guys, check this out. Have you seen this? Jeffrey Tucker just revealed that top FDA and NIH officials quietly admitted the real reason for COVID lockdowns, masking, and social distancing. Sounds like a wild conspiracy theory, but it's the truth. The real reason for all of this was to delay the onset of natural immunity.
For me, I still can't get over the fact that I was told by top FDA, NIH officials that a major reason for social distancing, lockdowns, masking, plexiglass, stay-at-home orders, and everything else was to delay the onset of natural immunity, to delay rising seroprevalence levels, to delay endemicity until after the shots were online. So it wasn't just that all these tactics, these sort of social engineering tactics, were designed to keep us well. No, it's exactly the opposite. It was to keep us from gaining a natural capacity to resist the virus, so that they could wait until the injection came along, so the injection could be deployed and experimented upon us, and thereby get all the credit for having solved the issue. And that sounds like a wild conspiracy theory, but that's what they meant by flatten the curve. Flatten the curve meant delay prolong the pain, delay the solution. And it sounds crazy until you hear it from people who were there on the ground in the agencies, in the companies, watching all this unfold. And multiple sources have confirmed this without a shadow of doubt in their mind that
whistleblowers have been coming out of the woodwork on this.
Of the school closures, the business shutdowns, the stay-at-home orders, the travel restrictions, everything, to delay the point at which we would have essentially solved the problem through natural exposure and immune upgrades.
Yeah. We showed in the last episode, COVID Bombshells Part 2, how there were countries in Africa that had extremely low death rates compared to the U.S., but they didn't have lockdowns and they didn't mandate vaccines. The same thing happened in the Dakotas here in the U.S., where they didn't mandate lockdowns and people were all around and mandate vaccines either.
And what happens when you flatten the curve? So if you got the curve that's like this, and for everybody at home that's not watching, I've got my hand steepled. It pushes it down, but it doesn't shrink it. It actually spreads it out.
Prolongs it.
So it still has the same amount of people, everything like that. They just spread out the time frame.
Yeah.
And really what I think that is
remember in the beginning, there were guys that wanted us to work through it in 2 weeks. They were like, don't do this prolonged thing. We can work through this in just like a month.
Well, I remember that. And the reason for this, they wanted to be heroes and be like, look, we've got this hero shot. And then they can make a bunch of money off of being...
Hundreds of billions is what they wanted.
Spread it out instead of being like, oh, people died from it. That was pretty bad. The old and the young and the at risk. Or the old and like the really young were at risk.
Yep.
And the sick. But like... No, it's just everybody take this thing, maintain your distance. Oh, another fact. And this blew my mind listening to this. Like when I first heard this, 60% of small businesses in this country died and never came back after COVID.
Wow.
It might be plus or minus, but when I heard it came out, and this was years ago that I heard this. This was 2003, 2004, and they're like, 60% of businesses shut down. And that's small mom pop shops, startups, places that have been there forever, multi-generational businesses. Remember in New York when it was like outdoor seating only, so they built these like plywood and whatever wood shelters outside, but like kept you in even more cramped and in the streets, and it's just like it didn't make sense. And I'm sorry, like if you have a highly aerosolized virus that is super contagious, a little piece of plexiglass in 6 feet ain't gonna do nothing about that.
It was so stupid. They were telling people not to go to the beaches, not to even do their outdoor. They weren't allowed to do outdoor church services, even though Fauci had to admit that, of course, sunlight does kill the virus. UV rays kill viruses. It's like a known thing.
So we should have all just been hanging out.
We were better off outside getting exercise. Yeah.
And then the intubation thing where
closed off inside houses and close together was not a good idea.
And a lot of the deaths came from like the early deaths came from the intubation, where it's like, oh, you've got the COVID and you got problems, stick a tube into your lungs, which was really hurting people and killing them. So we stopped doing it. But take the shot, take it again. Take it a third time. Hey, do you guys, like anybody who got vaccinated here, put in the comments, do you still have your stupid little vaccine card they gave you? You said, screw this, I'm not carrying it.
Did you get one of those?
Yeah, well, I was living with somebody who had like really, 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 really advanced leukemia. It's AML. It's a type of leukemia. And at the time, I didn't know. It was just like, okay, I'm living with a dude who's literally immunocompromised. So if I get this, I will kill him.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to be like, they coerced me into it. It's like, well, they did. But that's not why I'm pissed with them.
Right.
It's because the information that I had at that period of time was either incomplete or lies. I made a decision according to the information I had.
Right.
Now that I find out that they weren't giving me the information,
There definitely
and
was
they were
that social
hiding it.
pressure around us. Though.
Oh,
I
sure.
remember getting it from my
definitely
family.
was. Oh, I despise the masking thing, and I only wore it when they had the little sign that says you got to wear that because I didn't want to yell at people in public.
There was nothing healthy about wearing those cloth masks.
Nah, man. Well, and the thing is also if you
Even
want
N95 masks,
if you want to start a
you
virus,
have to change the filters like very often.
An N95 mask doesn't stop aerosolized viral loads from getting out into the environment because unless it's completely sealed and you're completely sealed up and like you can handle something that can like handle like phosgene gas and other stuff like that, nah, it's getting out. The reason why the doctors wear those kinds of masks and stuff like that is so like when they're coughing in surgery or drooling or whatever, it doesn't get in your wounds.
Right.
Or, you know,
it's just
like,
to stop spittle.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But yeah, microscopic viruses just float in the air. Everything was coming out the sides and of our masks in every direction at all times.
Well, and then there were people wearing the wet mesh masks, and then people that were doing the knit masks and the whatever, and those really
just
don't
hold
work.
bacteria that you're breathing in and out,
and also cause carbon dioxide poisoning, particularly young kids.
Horrible
which
for
is another
asthmatics.
thing they did.
People were being shamed for not wearing them. You still sometimes will see somebody wearing them in their car, but I think that we've shamed that enough for that to finally be dying off.
And I'm an asthmatic, and I never pulled the asthmatic card with it. I just begrudgingly wore it. I was in a place if I had to, and
that was one of the most surreal times.
It was weird, man.
It was really weird.
It was weird.
It was very Walking Dead-esque in the very beginning for all of us. For like that first week, you know, there's like, whoa, this is bad. This could be horrifying, and we're all like apocalypse mode. And then washing our groceries when we come home and all that.
Oh yeah, no, we did full like.
And then we realized the government was getting
high-proof alcohol spraying like all the groceries as they came in.
Yeah, right.
I was happy to do it because the people I was living with and we were looking out for somebody, but looking back on it.
Yeah, and at first it seemed like a nice short vacation, but then it kept getting longer and longer and more mandates and more extreme measures.
2 or 3 years here in the States.
Yeah, it was excessive, guys. Excessive. We were so lucky to be here in West Virginia. We were in one of the last 3 free states of the Union, it felt like, for a good while there, where you actually had at least some freedom of movement, and not everyone was judging you to the degree they were in some other places.
No, because us hill folk are pretty ornery.
Resilient and rebellious.
And the thing is, you know, like, there are the people who've been in Appalachia forever, for generations. That attitude they have is so thick and permeative that if you live here for a certain, like, I've lived here,
seeps into you
75-80% of my life, it gets in you.
It gets in you.
So you're like, nah, you ain't doing that. You can heck off, commie. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I just want to live on my mountain.
Appalachia will rub off on you in a good way if you let it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's that, fam. So that was wild. This insanity, I don't understand why this happened. It's still, to this day, corporate global hegemony, which everything seems to point to now, guys.
Oh, well, that was a good rant. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and hopefully enjoying us.
Yeah, we needed to get that out. YouTube is not going to appreciate this at all, but you guys can also find us on X and Rumble. If you'd prefer to join us over there, we would greatly appreciate you over on those channels too, because God knows how much more YouTube's going to put up with us. But we're going to keep on pushing the edges as much as we can, because this stuff needs to get out there. Share it with your friends and fam, guys. Appreciate you all so much for being here. I'm Chris.
I'm DJ.
And this is Meaning Making 101, where we make sense of this world together. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.